Guys, we officially made it to the end of 2024, but just because the year is coming to an end does not mean that the movies come to an end. There are still quite a few horror movies set to be released in December of 2024, some of which are like the most anticipated movies of the year, one of which I know is like my most anticipated horror movie of the year. But join me down in the comments, let me know which horror movie you are most excited for this December of 2024, but since there are like almost 20, let's just dive into them. First up is Nightbitch. This hits theaters December 6th. A woman thrown into the stay-at-home routine of raising a toddler in the suburbs slowly embraces the feral power deeply rooted in motherhood as she becomes increasingly aware of the bizarre and undeniable signs that she may be turning into a dog. This is based on the 2021 novel by Rachel Yoder that audiences seemed to love, and if you've got Amy Adams in a movie, I'm gonna be sad for it. Werewolves hits theaters December 6th. Two scientists try to stop a mutation that turns people into werewolves after being touched by a supermoon the year before. It does not work, and those exposed to the moonlight turn into savage werewolves, causing mayhem with armed vigilantes in the streets and laying siege to one of the scientists' family homes. This one looks like it's definitely going to be more action thriller than horror, but the transformation scenes look insane, so I am excited for this one. The Invisible Raptor hits video on demand services December 6th. After a top secret experiment goes wrong, a hyper-intelligent invisible raptor escapes the lab and begins wreaking havoc in the surrounding neighborhood. When the creature's identity is uncovered, it soon becomes clear that a disgraced paleontologist, alongside his ex-girlfriend, an unhinged amusement park security guard, and a local celebrity chicken farmer, is the town's only hope for surviving the raptor's ravenous rampage. I have seen this movie, but I am embargoed on this, but I will say that if you're a Jurassic Park fan like myself, I think that you're gonna have fun with this one. Getaway hits limited theaters December 6th. The Smith family's much-needed vacation to the remote Swedish island of Svalta takes a dark turn when they arrive during preparations for a mysterious local festival that celebrates a dark history. Unsettled by the unfriendly locals and strange rituals, they try to make the best of their trip, stubbornly enjoying the island's isolation and natural beauty. However, as the festival looms closer, the family realizes something far more sinister is unfolding, especially when they discover that a serial killer is on the loose. Y2K hits theaters December 6th. On the last night of 1999, two high school juniors crash a New Year's Eve party only to find themselves fighting for their lives in this dial-up disaster comedy. This is the directorial debut of Kyle Mooney, who is most known for being on SNL for many years. However, this one did get a lot of mixed reviews during its festival run, so I'm a little skeptical, and I'm hoping it doesn't entirely rely on nostalgia in place of a premise. You Are Not Me hits video on demand services December 6th. Aitana returns home for Christmas the first time after 3 years, only to find that her parents have replaced her with an unknown woman who is being treated like their daughter. She discovers a disturbing and bloody truth. A heads up to my foreign film lovers or subtitle dislikers, this one is in Spanish, but I've heard that this is a fun take on Christmas horror, which is one of my absolute favorite subgenres of horror, so I am all in for this one. Year 10 hits theaters December 6th. After the fall of civilization, the few survivors have been driven to cannibalism. A young man must confront a violent tribe that has murdered his father and stolen the medicine that keeps his girlfriend alive. I haven't heard anything about this film, but I am a weirdo and love cannibalism movies, so I have a good feeling that I'll like this one too. Chateau hits video on demand services December 6th. While on a French vacation funded by Odd Jobs, an aspiring influencer named James is hired to clean a reportedly haunted chateau. With unrestricted access to a property that is normally closed to the public, she sees an opportunity to covertly film a vlog that could result in an influx of followers. While investigating a series of disappearances linked to the residents, James uncovers a chilling truth. Devil's Stay hits limited theaters December 6th. A heart specialist doubts his daughter's death after an exorcism, believing her heart still beats. Amid her 3-day funeral, he and a priest clash over the truth, each trying to prove their stance and potentially save her life. This one is a South Korean film, which is usually always a hit, but surprisingly doesn't have favorable reviews on Letterboxd, so I'm actually nervous about this one. How to Kill Monsters hits video on demand services December 6th. Jamie is the sole survivor of a massacre at a remote cabin. Claiming that her friends were torn apart by a horrific monster summoned by a ritual gone wrong, she is arrested by the local cops and locked up for a crime that she didn't commit. But the truth is soon revealed, and now she must team up with a bunch of rookie cops and lawbreakers to defend a police station from invasion of monsters from another dimension. The Soul Eater hits video on demand services December 10th. When violent and gruesome deaths start plaguing a small mountain village, an old legend about a malevolent creature resurfaces. I saw this movie as a part of the Fantasia Film Festival earlier this year, and look, it's not perfect, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's surprisingly bloody, and it's a great blend of like horror and folklore and true crime. If you were a fan of the movie Red Rooms, I feel like you might be a fan of this one as well. Replicator hits video on demand services December 10th. A young public defender investigates the sudden moral transformation of a small town's criminals, uncovering sinister supernatural forces and a harrowing path to redemption. It's hard to tell what to expect from this one, but it definitely looks heavy on the body horror and will be drenched with like a Lovecraftian grimy feel. What Lurks Beneath hits video on demand services December 13th. The crew of USS Titan finds themselves on the brink of World War III with Russia when a naked stowaway appears in one of their torpedo tubes. Captain Banks fears she may be Russian, but she's something far more dangerous. I don't know about this one, guys. I'm still probably going to tune into it, but I don't know about this. The Man in the White Van hits theaters December 13th. Inspired by a true story, The Man in the White Van delves into the eerie underbelly of a seemingly idyllic 1974 Florida town and follows the harrowing experience of young Annie Williams, a spirited girl whose carefree existence is turned upside down as she becomes stalked by an ominous man in a white van. Writer-director Warren Scale stated in an interview, "We have taken great care to ensure that this narrative is told with respect for those who experience these horrific events firsthand. Our aim is to shine a light on a dark time in the 1970s and the extraordinary story of one girl's unimaginable ordeal with a serial killer." Mudbrick hits video on demand services December 13th. After inheriting an old mudbrick house in his home village in Eastern Europe, a man returns after spending his whole life in England, only to find out that inhabitants are hiding a dark secret about the pagan Slavic cult and his own past. The Activated Man hits video on demand services December 13th. After Orr's Gabriel loses his beloved dog to cancer, the shock from the trauma produces strange vision projections that force Orr's to wrestle with two possibilities: that his mind has fractured or that it's actually real. This has some horror icons including Kane Hodder and the late Tony Todd. The Little Mermaid hits video on demand services December 17th. Dr. Eric Prince, an archaeologist, makes a dramatic discovery on a small Caribbean island, proof of an ancient, advanced prehistoric society. While his dig is in progress, he meets the mysterious and beautiful Aurora Bay and falls in love. Do I think that this is going to be a good movie? Not really, but am I really excited to watch it? Yes. The Naughty List of Mr. Scrooge hits video on demand services December 20th. A group of former college friends gather for a reunion at a winter chalet 15 years after one of their own dies during their production of A Christmas Carol. The group then finds themselves being stalked and killed off one by someone dressed as a terrifying version of Ebenezer Scrooge. And lastly, Nosferatu. This hits theaters December 25th. A gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. This has been my most anticipated movie of 2024 since the beginning of 2024, and I can't believe that the time is finally here. Early reviews have been raving about this one, which is no surprise because the cast and crew are phenomenal and it oozes such a beautiful gothic tone. I am so ready for this one. And there you have it, all the horror movies set to release in December of 2024. But I'm like kind of sad that we're at the end of the year. 2024 has brought us some absolute bangers. And like I've seen some people comment that 2024 has been a weak year in horror, but I have to disagree. Like some of my favorite movies have released this year. Like The Substance came out this year. How can you not like The Substance? That's just my personal opinion. I'm definitely going to do a roundup of like my top 20. I feel like top 10 would be way too hard to choose from. So definitely like a top 20 of my favorites that have come out so far this year, because there are just so many good ones that people need to be seeing, and some of which like really flew under the radar. So I definitely want to get their names out there. But join me down below in the comments. Let me know which horror movie you are most excited to see this month, and let me know which horror movie that you loved the most in 2024, because I feel like I have seen a lot of horror movie releases this year. It's somewhere on the upwards of like 300 movies, but there are still some that I missed in 2024, even though I tried my hardest to watch every single horror movie of 2024, and people said it couldn't be done, and they were right. It was really hard to do, but I tried, okay? The effort was there. But down in the description, you can also find the link to my letterbox, which in 2024, I did a list of like all the horror movies that released this year that were like accessible to the general public, because every year a ton of horror movies like come out, but they don't always hit like a streaming service or being able to like rent, like they have their film festival runs and everything. So I do keep a very meticulous list of the ones that are actually available to the general public, and I'm going to be doing the same in 2025, so you can keep up with every single horror or horror adjacent movie that will be coming out in 2025. I've already started that list. I'm very excited for the movies that are set to be released in 2025. I think 2025 is going to be a great year. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.